Hey everyone, Logan here from RT Sports. Today I'm excited to give you our first look at our completely redesigned draft room. Our goal with this update was simple: make draft day faster, cleaner, and easier to follow while giving you all the information you need to create your best draft day experience for yourself and for your league. I'm first going to start with the player list on the left-hand side. So you can see the player list on our left-hand side. We got headshots of players now in there. If you select the player, it brings up their new player profile. This player profile goes into more depth than our old one. It gives you an overview on the player. You can look at their news, and then you can look at their game log from the previous year with that. If you click on full player card, you can look at their full information there, but it's got a lot of basic information about the players there. And then if you click the plus button, it'll add that player into the selected player column in the upper left-hand corner where you can draft the player. So you can draft the player up here. You can also click on queue to add that player to the queue. You can click on their profile to bring up their profile, or X to unselect that player. So you get the player list over here on the left-hand side. Add them by the plus button, profile by clicking on their name, and then you click on queue to add them to your queue on the right-hand side of the page with that. A new feature that we also added in on this player list is right above the players is these positional guidelines. So right now you can see that 4 running backs have been selected in this draft. 3 wide receivers have been selected. There's been no quarterbacks, tight ends, kickers, or defenses selected so far in this draft. This is just a great tool to have during the draft to kind of keep an idea of what positions have been going off so far during that draft. The upper section of this draft room, you can see the draft timeline. So up here we got Iron Summit on the clock. The last pick was JSN. You can kind of just scroll through that timeline, kind of similar to what we had last year with that draft room and that timeline up above. In the middle section, we've got several different functions as well. New functions, I should say, as well. In the middle, we got our picks column. So whenever a successful pick happens right here, it'll show right here, selected the player, Jonathan Taylor, selected Iron Summit, pick number 1.8, and running back with that. If you tab over, you can go into the chat room. So you can go ahead and type in there. As commissioner, you have the ability to pin messages as well at the very top of the chat room if you want everyone to see that. We also have the ability to add in emojis. So you can use emojis within the chat room as well. And then if you're tired of the chat room, you can turn the mute off so you don't get sound alerts with that, or you can log out of the chat completely. That way you don't get notifications when anyone says anything within the chat. So there's a couple cool different features with that. You can view how many users are in the chat room. So if you click on that, you can view who's in there. Right now, currently, I am the only one in this chat room with that. If you click on rules, it'll give you a good breakdown of the rules within your league, such as scoring, the roster setup, the draft format, and the waivers, along with the season rules within your league. So that is a very helpful tool to have while you are drafting as well. And then notes. This is where we got a lot of feedback of people wanting to take notes during the draft, such as I want to maybe look into getting Mike Evans as a sleeper. So I can just type in Mike Evans 5th round and keep that as a note, because when the 5th round comes around, I can then go to Mike Evans with that, or just any type of note that you want about different team strategies. If a team is full with quarterbacks, you can put that in there. Just a great way just to be prepared during the draft. Final one of these tabs is the draft board. If you click on the draft board, it's going to come up with our new layout within this draft board. You can see the player picks here. You can do a compact view, so it shows all the teams there, or a standard view. If you click on show draft log, it's going to come up with this draft log on the right hand side. That might be easier for some people to follow along with than sideways with that. You can share the draft board. So if you click on this, it shares it directly to your X account, and then you can switch from light to dark mode. cannot see it on the screen, but below it, it will be the legend and keys for what position means what. R means rookie, and you got instant picks with lightning bolts and fail-safe selections as well. So you can go ahead and exit back out of that and go back into the draft room itself. On the right-hand side, we've got the queue. So again, you can add players by selecting their queue. And this is probably one of our coolest features that we added in. So we've got our queue on the right-hand side. We've got our player list on the left-hand side. If you click on Import to Rankings, this moves your queue from the right-hand side automatically over to this left-hand side rankings list. So you see right here, I've got Jaylen Warren, T. Higgins, Alec Pierce. If you look on the left-hand side, you will see these players listed at the very top of your rankings list. So for the longest time, people wanted to import their rankings directly into the rankings list. We've always had to go straight into the queue and not being able to adjust your rankings, but that has all changed. So you can now import rankings into your queue, but then you can also import your queue into the rankings itself. So this will be a very useful tool within this new draft room as well. You can also show who has been drafted and hide who's been drafted. So all these players will be crossed off when they are drafted. You can open that back up. Back on the queue, you can remove players from the queue. So I just removed Jaylen Warren, and then that removed him from my rankings over here and put him back where he normally goes within that draft board. I am in as commissioner right now, so a couple different functions might differ between being in as commissioner rather than just a team owner themselves. Like I'm being able to adjust which team's queue I'm looking at over here. If you click on roster, you can then see your team's roster. So let's go to a team that has a player. So this team, Redline, they drafted Bijan Robinson 1.1. So you got your team there. It'll show the full roster. You can also switch to grid view. So when they select more players, it's going to show up as grid. So QBs will be sectioned together, running backs, and so on. With that, let's go ahead and make a couple more selections for some teams here. So I got just drafting some players here to kind of show how this looks. You can format by what position to sort by. You can also sort by ADP. So this is brand new as well into the draft room. So you can, if you want to draft based off of ADP of a player instead of our personal rankings, you can sort by that. Each ADP is going to be specific depending on your league style, such as Superflex, normal PPR. With that, so rankings will differ depending on what type of contest you are in. So there's so many different new features in here as well. You can also view who is all in the draft room at one time. So now I'm going to you can also switch between projected points along with 2025 points. So these are their stats from 2025. Josh Allen had 414 points, 39 touchdowns, and 47 yards for last year. I'm going to dive into a little bit more about these commissioner tools right now as well, because the commissioner tools, we have added several different features into there as well. So if you click on modify, you can go ahead and take a look at this. So if you go into the commissioner tools, you can readjust the draft order for each specific round. So let's say I don't want Northbound to be picking 2.03. I can switch that over to Capital City and then they will be picking there. Again, you can do this for any round that you want. You can also drag and drop these selections as well to switch them around. And you can do that for any round. Keepers, this is a very big one. So let's say you want a keeper in a specific spot. What you will do first is you will add that player to the team's roster, and then you will come into the draft room and select this modify option, and then you can go to whichever round you want, and then you can forfeit that player for that specific spot. So I can forfeit, say, 4.03 for Justin Jefferson and select him to go there. With that, and then I can undo that if I don't want him there. So keepers, make sure you add that player to that team's roster first through that add drop page, and then you can come in to this keeper section under modify and make that switch over. Undo picks. This is a big one as well. So if there was an accidental selection, say you don't want a specific player, say I don't want Trey McBride at 1.12, I can go in, undo that selection. I can go back and McBride is undone and 112 is back on the clock. So if an accidental pick happens within your draft, or you just need to reverse something, that is what you will want to do there. Positional limits. This is brand new. You can now have positional limits within your draft. So, say you want everyone to leave the draft with at least one kicker and one defense, you can turn that on to one. Say you don't want a team to have more than 4 quarterbacks, you can switch that over to 4. And you can just do that if you want specific roster sizes within your draft. So I can save those. And now, whenever I leave this draft, it is going to require all teams to have at least 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 kicker, 1 defense, and it will not allow the max at all those positions on the right-hand side. So that is a very cool feature as well. So those are the commissioner functions up here and under modify. You can also pause the draft. So it'll come up, the draft is paused. You can resume that. That is where you will also start the draft as commissioner. In this upper section, you can switch between light and dark mode. So this is a very popular one as well, something that we did not have in this old style. So with this new, so you can go back and forth between light, dark. For me personally, it kind of depends on the day with that. So you can just make that switch, so you can just have it reload, and now we are all set. So if you go back up in that upper corner, you can click on draft settings as well. You can download the draft as a CSV. You can download it as PDF. So you can do both of those. Picks, timer settings, and notifications. If you click on this, you can select how long you want the clock to be. This is only for commissioner, so they can select right within the draft room how long each clock is, and then also a warning threshold. This is for users themselves. If they want like a little flashing alert while they are on the clock, they can do this as well. Sound alerts, you can turn that on or off. If you get tired of constant beeping whenever it's your turn and you don't want to feel pressured, you can just go ahead and turn that off. Or if you want to flash on your screen, if it's your turn and time is about to run out, you can turn that on as well. Notifications, you can turn on now browser notifications whenever it's like your turn or on the clock. Sound on your turn. Trade offers, so you can be within the draft room. This is especially important for our dynasty leagues because trade offers go back and forth pretty quickly. And then you can readjust the notification sound. So again, this is our draft room. This is our new draft room. We are super excited to launch this. There's going to be a lot of new features that our old draft room did not have, and we're going to continuously be working on to improve this so that to give you the best draft experience as possible. Again, if you have any questions about this draft room, feel free to contact us at support@rtsports.com or give us a call at 636-447-1170. We hope that you enjoy this draft room, and we are super excited to get this going for the 2026 season.